Hey everyone, back with another knife overview. Today we're going to be looking at the Demko AD 20 MG or machine ground. Before I get started, huge shout out to my buddy Zach. He lent me his AD 20 to take it for a little test drive, and really appreciate it because my only experience with Demko knives was with their made in Taiwan version, which yeah, we'll kind of get to some of the differences here. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you, I don't have the made in Taiwan version anymore. And but I still, it's near and dear. I remember my thoughts on it, so we're gonna kind of go over that. One of the things that Zach pointed out when he sent this to me was that there's kind of three tiers to Demko knives. So the lower tier, which will run you about $150, are made in Taiwan. Then there is the U.S. made machine ground, which is what you're looking at right now, and then there's kind of the more custom version, hand ground, made in the US. So this one's going to be kind of the middle of the road one, but I'm really impressed with it. I kind of thought that between the shark lock and just the design, I would kind of write off Demko forever, but this one kind of has me thinking. So if you're in the market for either a Taiwanese one or a US made one, stay tuned because we're going to kind of go through the pros and cons. Before we get started, this is the box that it comes in. Yeah, very chintzy cardboard. There's nothing in this. It's kind of a throwaway box, as it were. But again, we don't really get too much into the knife packaging. As far as comparisons go, so the Demko AD 20 as compared to a Spyderco Spidey Chef looks like that. And then we will grab this Microtech LUDT. Looks like that. And then finally we'll go to a Chris Reeve large Sabenza 31. Looks like that. So I have had some time to spend with this Demko AD 20, to be completely honest with you. Like when Zach had told me that he had one of these, I was like, I already tested one out. I don't need to like revisit it. But I'm so happy. So again, thank you very much for sending this to me again, because it kind of changed my outlook on Demko writ large. And yeah, if you're in the market, like wait till the end of this video, but hold out for this version for sure. So going through the details very quickly on this AD 20, so it features a 3.6 inch blade. It's going to be 8.6 inches overall, if I can fit it into the frame. Closed, you're looking at 5 inches. It features a stone washed CPM 20 CV blade. It's going to be clip point style. It weighs kind of a hefty 6.1 ounces. So again, if we look at that kind of 1 inch of cutting blade to 1 ounce, this one's definitely going to be over that. The MSRP for this US made machine ground is going to be $425. And as I said, made in the USA. Wampum, Pennsylvania, which I think is pretty awesome. So with that, we're going to get into my observations and we will wrap this up. All right, my first observation of the US made Demko AD 20 is that this thing feels so overbuilt as compared to that 20.5, which was made in Taiwan. And I know a lot of people will say, I just want to, I like the look, like the style, like the locking mechanism, just want to save some bucks. Like, stop. You're wrong. Like even with G10 handles on this, and so it does have like steel liners right here. This thing is a freaking paperweight. Like it's a chunky, overbuilt. I don't know what this knife can't do, but I'm scared to see what it can do, kind of thing. I think though my only reservation with it, as far as being an overbuilt knife, is you do see quite often the aftermarket for these Demko 8020s, people putting full titanium frames on them, etc. You don't need it, and it is going to take away from how good this knife is. If I was running full titanium scales on this thing, it would be absolutely scary. I mean, unless you live in a windy area and you're trying to like hold shit down all the time, This thing is as heavy as you would want it to be, and that's running G10. Like that's kind of that's so crazy to me, but definitely worth noting. The next observation that I had with this knife is, by all accounts, I mean, everything from the handle, I mean, these massive barrel spacers in here, the huge thumb studs, the blade thickness, everything is large and in charge with this knife, but it only has a 3.6-inch blade. So I will say, and this is kind of like my one critique for this knife, is that the ratios are a little bit off. I can't say enough good things about the ergonomics and how it feels, and we'll get into that, more in depth here in a few. But the blade size being 3.6 inches it's a little bit small for the rest of it. The ratios are a little bit off. The next observation that I had almost immediately as compared to my 80-20.5, and again, I have a memory like an elephant. I remember what it felt like, kind of thing. The detent in this is so much more precise and like engineered feeling. Like, I mean, I wish I would have started with a US made one as opposed to a Taiwanese one. And again, I don't have anything against knives that are built in, foreign countries, whatever. Like, this thing though it's a different beast, and you wouldn't know that unless you held both of these. So the detent, so much more precise. The handle, the grip is really comfortable. I kind of feel like, yeah, like any grip that I take with this, even with the shark lock, I feel really locked in, and it gives you confidence. I would say, like, if you work in colder areas, or you want a knife because you're wearing gloves, this would be a showstopper. Like this thing is absolutely phenomenal. Like, for everything is overbuilt, oversized, whatever, and like, I think, like, even if I had like repelling gloves on, this thing would be super comfortable. You'd have you'd have all the confidence in the world. You could work the lock with one hand, etc. Closing it, opening it. This is like a purpose-built, hard-use knife for people that wear gloves regularly. All right, and the last kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it like a critique, but one of the things that I still kind of struggle with, which I don't know if it's like a showstopper. I mean, certainly this shark lock is very revolutionary. I mean, the Demko brothers, I don't know what's going on with them with like cold steel, etc. But the way that this shark lock works is awesome. Like, I have all the confidence in the world. It's never gonna break its lock and then, kind of cut my hand or anything like that. But the one thing that sticks out is still this piece right here, which I don't know who it's important to, but it is worth noting. Like, I mean, it's not going to be monolithic at all. Like, you're always going to have this little gap here with a shark lock where things will get stuck in when it's closed. So whatever that means to you, I don't know. I'm not trying to be dramatic with it, but that is definitely still one thing that sticks out to me from the other version. And it's just due to the design of the knife, is you're gonna have to kind of come to grips with this gap right here between the G10 and the blade, where things may get hung up on it. But with that, I mean, that concludes my overview of this knife. I think this is an awesome, super hard use rig that it's definitely not for the faint of heart. I mean, although it's overbuilt and certainly the highest quality, for the size of the handle, etc., it's relatively kind of a small blade for the handle. And I just want to say again, like, thanks so much to Zach for letting me check this thing out. I love to, honestly, I don't know what it is. Like, my family originally is from Pennsylvania. I loved seeing Wampum, Pennsylvania on the pivot. And kind of my final word of advice for this, or anyone interested in Demko knives, is after handling the, made in Taiwan, I've owned two of them. I ended up gifting one, sold the other one. After handling this one, if you're in the market, save up the extra $300 and buy the real deal. Like, I mean, you won't regret it. Like, this is one of those knives, and there's been plenty of other knives out there it's been like, oh, you can get a hand ground USA made, whatever, it's $600 more, but you really can't tell the difference between like that and something made by like Riot or whatever. This one is like, it screams to you like, no, this thing is quality. It's worth the extra money. So if I can, even if I even this just like resonates with one person, like if you're in the market for a Demko, save up for the machine ground made in US version. It's a different knife. You will not regret it. And this thing will serve you for years and years and years. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you next time.